Hey guys, and welcome back to Heart of the Game. It's actually been a while since my last episode, a couple of weeks or something I think, and that's just basically real life stuff coming in the way of me having the time to make an episode. But I'm here now, and today we're going to talk about a highly anticipated Nintendo 3DS game called Metroid Samus Returns. And I just gotta say to you guys, just straight off the bat, I really had a blast playing through this game, and it's what I was hoping for and much more. But as most games, and nearly every game that comes out, it's not perfect, and it has a few flaws, and I'm just gonna go through them really fast now so we get it out of the way. So Nintendo decided to develop and release this game for the Nintendo 3DS. This is my Nintendo 3DS XL, and the problem with playing this game on a handheld or the 3DS is that this game is so fast paced and a lot of actions you can do, so you actually get a bit tired in your hands after playing a while. So I would just be happy, or I would have, if I was Nintendo, I would have actually released this game for the Nintendo Switch instead. They have such a great handheld / console system there that is new and exciting, but I guess they want to keep the 3DS alive for a bit longer. And I also noticed that a lot of people were a bit pissed off that they actually couldn't use the D-pad to move Samus around. You actually have to use a joystick or thumbstick. I would have liked to use the D-pad as well, but I have a problem with the 3DS. I think the D-pad placement is way too low compared, and I know there's not a lot of space because you have to fit in the screen and everything, but it just doesn't feel natural to me to use the D-pad because your thumb actually goes on the thumbstick quite naturally, and it feels unnatural to use the D-pad to play for very long. So you have that. And it's not a fault of the game. It's designed for the 3DS. It's a more problem with the 3DS and not the game. Another thing that I don't quite understand is that because the first time you play through this game on normal difficulty, you unlock hard mode, and that's cool. But to actually, and this game has an amiibo function that unlocks certain things if you use it, the certain right amiibos. And to unlock the hardest mode in the game, called Fusion Mode, you actually have to own the Metroid amiibo. And I don't quite understand why Nintendo would do this, because it's limits it for some of us gamers that aren't interested in buying the Metroid amiibo, you know. I totally understand that you can unlock like bonuses and stuff like that. Really doesn't matter with an amiibo, just some cool art stuff and stuff like that. Totally understand that, but in whole game mode locked behind an amiibo, that's just bad design in my book. But yeah, and basically that's everything that's negative about this game. The rest is actually amazing. So let's get into the gameplay. The story kicks off, and I gotta say this: I don't actually have a capture card for my 3DS, so I actually haven't made a video overview for you guys because it wasn't possible for me. It's a bit of a money investment, and to get a capture card installed for your 3DS, and you have to give your 3DS away for some weeks or a month or something just to get it installed, because it's a hard mod. I know you can use some software and you can film your 3DS while playing, but I'm not into that. So I'm just gonna show you some gameplay footage that Nintendo put out, and some trailers and stuff, so you know what I'm talking about if you're not familiar with the game or familiar with the franchise. So yeah, gameplay wise, it's exactly like a 2D side-scrolling Metro game from the older generation. The last one I believe was Metroid Fusion, and it's quite like that. We don't have the 2D pixel graphics anymore. We have full 3D graphics, and it looks amazing. And don't get me wrong, I love the look of the Game Boy Advance games, Metroid Game Boy Advance games, and I love the looks of Super Metroid for the Super Nintendo. But of course, this is moving a bit into and taking usage of the power that is today with 3D graphics, and it looks great, but it plays like the old Metroid games, and it feels like an old Metroid game just in a new skin. So as I mentioned, this game is actually a remaster of, and not a remake, but a complete remaster of Metroid 2, The Return of Samus, which was originally released on the Game Boy, which was actually the first Metroid game I ever played. But this is a reimagining of that game, and basically what we're being asked to do as Samus Aran, the main protagonist of the game, is to go down to this planet SR88 or something like that and hunt down the Metroids. So the gameplay is phased like this: you go and hunt a certain number of Metroids, and then you unlock a new section of the map. And every Metroid you battle and have to collect a DNA sample from is actually a mini boss in itself. And at first they're starting to they actually are a bit hard, but then learn how to do it, and you meet new Metroids during this hunt down and capturing of their DNA, and it's a great way to progress through the game, and they always throw something new at you all the time. And you have also, with all the upgrades you get, of course, that it's a Metro game, so you get a lot of cool upgrades and new ways to tackle the situations and ways of hunting down the Metroids. So it never gets boring, and it feels fresh, and you really know all the time what to do and where to go. And I really enjoy that in this Metro game. You have some new functions. First of all, you have free aim in this game. You can completely press a button and you're free to aim anywhere you want in the screen, and that's cool. But you actually have to stop to aim. You can't run and gun and in the old Metroids. If you want precision aiming, you gotta stand still. So, but I really enjoy that. Another thing is that you have a counter-attack system. Just right before you get hit by an enemy when it attacks, you can actually counter that enemy and stun it and automatically aim on that enemy and just blast it, and you kind of insta-kill it. It's a function you learn just straight off the bat in the game, and you use it you're gonna use it for the rest of the game basically. So it's a function you need to learn and to master, and I gotta say it gets a bit repetitive after a while. I kind of miss it, just guns blazing Metroid system, but I get it. It's a cool function, but you do it through the whole game, so it gets a bit old at the later parts of the game. Another function you have is that you actually have a sonar or a map revealer. You have an ability, an ion ability. I'm getting back to that, but you have an ability so you can scan the map and see where secrets are and see your surroundings. So it takes a bit away from the actual exploration of the Metroid game, and some people will think this is completely okay, and some will say, well, I'm not going to use this function at all. And if you don't want it and you want to explore everything by yourself and find every little nook and cranny and secret, you're free not to use it. I actually enjoy this because I don't think it takes away any enjoyment of the game. It just makes me find upgrades and stuff like that faster, and not have to shoot every random thing in the game to find every secret, and like wanting to use a guide or anything, because then you know where the item is, and then you can figure out there's a lot of things that are you have to do a lot of backtracking because you don't have the powers yet to find them, and there's like some small puzzles involved in getting them too. So I don't think it hurts the gameplay at all. I actually enjoyed it. Combat is usually very fun. The difficulty of the game is it's not a very hard game combat wise, or like going from room to room and killing stuff. But I gotta say, some of the boss fights are actually quite challenging. I'm not gonna spoil any of that for you, but there are some really decent boss fights in this game, and a lot of classic fights that comes back to haunt you. So this game is just hands down a joy to play. And I would actually call this game a system seller. If you don't own a 3DS or a new 3DS or 2DS or whatever, this would actually be a reason to get it, because you can't play it any other way as of now, and it's an amazing game. It's absolutely a system seller, and I recommend it to old Metroid veteran as new players. And this is actually not a bad place to start. If you've never ever played a Metroid game, this is a good place to start, because in chronological order, this is the second Metroid game, being the first Metroid game for the Nintendo Entertainment System, being the first. Or you could actually play Metroid Zero Mission for the Game Boy Advance, which is also a remake, but of the first game. So I 100% completed this game, found everything in my normal playthrough. Used about, I think I ended up very close to 14 hours unlocking everything. I'm about halfway through on my hard playthrough of the game. It goes a lot faster now. The difficulty of the game, I don't find it very challenging, but I've played a lot of Metroid games. But the challenge being that it's, as I mentioned earlier, is just spending so much time playing on the actual 3DS, because you get a bit tired in the hands. So absolutely great game, and as I said, I would recommend it to anyone that enjoys games. When it comes to how many hearts I'm gonna actually give this game, I'm gonna give it a strong 9 hearts, 9 out of 10 hearts. The only reason it not reaching all the way up there is basically it's a bit hard to play on the Nintendo 3DS. It's a bit so exhausting to have those long game sessions, you know. And Nintendo locking shit behind amiibos, like, it's not unheard of them to do that. But just from my perspective, I would actually like to be able to unlock everything in the game with just my skill alone, you know. So that's that about Metroid Samus Returns. For my next episode, we're gonna switch it up a bit again. On Friday, I'm actually getting the Mini Super Nintendo Classic. So I actually have ordered 2 copies of that because I was afraid not getting it, but I've gotten it confirmed by the store that I actually did my second pre-order now, that I can come and pick it up on Friday. I was the second one to actually order one from them, and I think they had 6 in their store all in all, and I've also ordered online, so I might actually get that in the mail as well. But really looking forward to getting that. So what I'm gonna do for my next episode is I'm gonna do an unboxing of that and make a review of that. Test out a bit of the games, a bit of functionality, how it looks, how it feels, that good stuff, you know. So if you like my content, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.